Kokanee.
Welcome to
Ask Me Anything.
You asked, and we will answer, and Marco promises to not just complain about the beer.
I'm not promising anything. Okay, we're gonna start with Instagram.
Okay, you got the Instagram. I'll get the YouTube open.
Van City Mini asks, "What do you guys like on your burgers?" I like cheese and barbecue sauce. Oh, and a fried egg. Fried egg? Well, cheese, of course, but fried egg just messes up the moisture of the bread. You want it crisp and toasted.
I'm all about the bacon. It's gotta be on the bacon.
Just meat.
Nico likes no bun.
Yeah. G.U. Jaro asks, "What is your guys' dream car, other than the Mini, of course?"
I've always wanted a 911. That's my, like, an early air-cooled 911. It's sort of played out now, but still want one.
Datsun 240Z.
I have dreams about my Mini, like literally. But I would say a Fintail, Mercedes Fintail. With the Lexus V8.
Well, you want to do the Fintail with the
V8
chopped?
Chopped with the V8 in it.
That sounds pretty good. I could rock that. From YouTube, 998 versus 1275, particularly as a daily driver, and which one would you give better driving experience overall? Gotta be the 1275. With modern road traffic and whatnot, it's just it's the least anemic of the engines. The 998 can be fun, and like you have a built 998, and it goes well, but it's just starting with the biggest displacement possible is always the best way to make power, torque, and honestly, it's 1275 cc's. It's not that big anyways, so
that's where Phil is wrong. I've dailied a 998 for like 8 years. You just have to step on it and don't brake.
Yeah,
I like the way your car spins up, but on a technical note, it's not a 998. It's a 10.
Yeah, it's a stroked
1098, right? Yeah.
They do rev better, the 998, because it's like a shorter stroke engine, so it feels more revvy and more zippy, and the 1275 feels more like a small muscle car, sort of. It's got like low end torque, but not a lot of high end.
It does sound better too, the 1275.
Yeah. 1380 sounds even better.
Do you drive your Minis? Okay.
No.
Connor Lintot. Do you drive your Minis on a daily basis?
You did.
I did daily it, but
Yeah.
it keeps breaking.
I only dailied mine when it was completely stock and totally unreliable. The second I fixed it and made it nice, I never dailied it. So I do drive it in the summer and I'll insure it, but for daily, that's my goal for this year. I want to take my Jeep off insurance and drive it every day just to say that I do. They can totally be driven every day. Everyone, a lot of people we know drive them every day or almost every day, and there's nothing stopping you. With us, we have them sitting here already, so we kind of drive them when we want to. But as a daily driver, if you want to buy one, like, go for it. Like, it's awesome, super fun.
I did also teach my mom how to push start my car.
Yeah, you do get
Yeah.
experiences. I had to change my starter motor in Duffin's Donuts at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I had
and the homeless man helped me.
Yeah,
it was great.
Strangers are the kindest people.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
Why? Here's a question that's not asked, but I will ask you. Why has every homeless person ever owned a Mini?
yeah.
You're right. Like every
people would stop me and say, "Oh, I own this. I own a Mini in the '70s.
Yeah.
Look where I am now."
I don't know if it's a good sign for us right now,
Yeah.
but yeah. Okay.
Homelessness is a real problem. We should not laugh at it.
I have a question here. Is Marco real? And if so, how much RAM does he have?
No, that's not a real question. I'm performing exactly as I'm built to. I mean,
I don't know if you're quite optimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to
But you
reboot.
do have at least 64 gigs. Like you're a pretty fast running machine.
I'm like dual core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid state.
Yeah.
So solid.
Any A86s.
I've had one.
Could.
I've had 2 A86s. Awesome cars. Yeah.
We talk about how they share some characteristics with the Mini sometimes.
Mhm.
It's like the car that shouldn't work, but it kind of does.
Mhm.
The Mini shouldn't work, but it does.
Yeah, I feel like old 911s, Minis, and A86s have like a weird commonality where they're all like funny, where they sort of shouldn't work on a technical standpoint, but they all do, and they're all known to be drivers' cars, and they're also sort of all timeless. So, any A86 owners out there, go for it.
Sebastian Levesque asks, what are the best tuning or add-ons to do on an SPI to increase performance?
With the SPI, it's a little tricky because the stock computer is not mappable, so you can't change ignition timing, you can't change fueling. So if you add on like an exhaust or an intake, it will make a little bit of an improvement, but really in order to get the most out of them, you need to have some way of controlling timing and fueling. Particularly, timing can make a big difference, and if you have a standalone computer that can control that, then you can make a big improvement in power. There's also some companies that sell aftermarket fuel injection kits, so the intake manifold changes and you get a better fuel injection, and you can make more power that way. With an SPI, you can also convert to carburetors, which quite honestly is about the easiest way of making more power if you do want to kind of go down that route, and then you have sort of infinite tuning abilities. So with the normal SPI, I say make an exhaust, put an exhaust on it, it'll sound better, and kind of enjoy it for what it is. And if you want to go crazier, I don't think there's a huge point in putting a cam or anything in it until you're able to control both fuel and timing.
Well, I don't know where Sebastian is at in terms of modifying his car, but he asks what are the best tuning and add-ons, and the best is super subjective, right? It's like use case, like what do you want it to be?
Yeah.
How much? What's your budget? Do you have to daily it? Do you need some torque down low?
I would say if you haven't already, the best tuning ability for an SPI is just to make sure it's running perfectly. They have quite a bit of power if they're tuned correctly, and if you make sure that you've got your spark plugs, all your sensors are working correctly, your O2 sensor is fairly new and calibrated, and everything is running efficiently, it should have a fair bit of power. I would concentrate on suspension and brakes and make those work as good as they can, and then go to power. But a lot of people probably have an SPI that's probably not maintained or running that well, and then that can make a huge improvement, just bringing it back to what it was from stock.
Does the computer know how to tune itself? Like if you put like a filter and a bigger exhaust in?
To a point, but not to like a standalone computer's like ability. Like, I think they sell like these stage 3 kits with a cylinder head and the cam, and it flows better, but if the computer can't increase the amount of fuel or change the timing curve or whatnot, it's just not going to be the same potential you could get with a carburetor where you could do that. So
Jasper Burkine asks, is it possible to mount a roof rack on a Mini with open roof? If yes, where can I buy one? Where did you guys get yours from? Congrats, keep up with the content. Open roof, I'm guessing he means one of the rollback ones.
Yeah, with Vesto.
Yeah.
Like mini, like open.
yours would work.
Yeah, just ones that mount to the gutter.
Yeah, because there's 2 types usually with mini roof racks. There's like mine has suction cups that goes onto the actual roof, and that wouldn't work. But Marco has one that clamps down to the side on the sill. We're actually probably going to be making our own pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. If you're interested, we might have them available somewhat soon.
I got mine from Florida. I don't know if they have Florida anymore. Is it still a thing?
I heard it's a thing.
Oh, damn it. What are you using for production? Lighting, Sony, Canon, Final Cut, Fave lenses.
Really basic. Canon 80D, Sigma 18-35 lens. Lighting is like whatever we have, and a mic, a good microphone, honestly. Rode mic makes a really big difference.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, we've got another one. Zach P.D asks, what got you into minis?
Well, you should go first with this one because you had the Mini the longest.
Yeah, I got mine when I was 18, many years ago. Mostly because of Mr. Bean, and there was this one red Mini that I drove by, I drove by all the time, and I just had to have it.
It was your first car too, right?
It was my first car. I learned how to drive a manual on the day I got it. It was very easy. Like,
Did you test drive it?
yeah, like the day I test drove
You
it.
literally learned it on when you
Is
test
that
drive?
quote unquote learned?
Yeah.
Or actually learned?
And it was like, oh, what is, like, it's this air vent. What does it do? It's like, it does nothing. just this one. It's on or off. It's like, oh, okay. This is what I'm getting into. I can't believe my mother let me buy a Mini. Like, don't buy your children Minis. It's very unsafe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I always think if I bought a Civic instead, what would happen? Like,
You would be a different person.
yeah, I would have a lot more money.
All right, we've got one here. How did the idea around Steveston Motor Co. start and why? So Nico and I have been working on cars for ages. We've both owned just a plethora of different cars, mostly Japanese. That's how we started. I had a MR2 was my first car, an AW11, and you had the
RX-7.
yeah,
FC.
turbo. And so anyways, we've been working on cars for ages, and we really love working on cars, and we also had motorcycles at the time. We both had, you've had a Gixxer and a V-Star, and I built a hardtail bobber out of a Suzuki 650 Savage, it was called. So anyways, we both had motorcycles at the time, both like working on cars, and we're both living in apartments, and we decided, hey, it'd be really cool if we were starting like a small shop to be able to just like work on cars, work on our motorcycles. And so we decided one day, we saw an ad come up on Craigslist for a small shop, and we sat down and we just said, screw it, let's do it. So we started the shop, and then mostly with our motorcycles, quite honestly. It started off as a motorcycle shop. We were starting to do some work, and then it sort of progressed when I bought my Mini. So I actually didn't have the Mini until after we owned the shop. And then I got the Mini, and I kind of got into the world of Mini, and I realized that it was sort of the culmination of a lot of things that I like about other cars. So, you know, I've had probably 20 or 30 cars by now, and like the qualities that are in the Mini, like I really kind of stood out to me. And then we started to realize that there's a market for it, and there's a ton of enthusiasts. And then we sort of started to specialize more and more in Minis until pretty much now all we do is Minis. And then at one of the car shows is where we met Marco, and we saw that, you know, his Mini was awesome and he was super into it, and we started hanging out more and more. And next thing you know, we can't get rid of it.
It was the Run BMC valve cover.
It was the Run BMC valve cover and your tattoo.
Was it?
Yeah, because I remember showing Nico.
Oh,
I was
my
like,
Mini
check out
one.
this guy. He
He's
really
so
likes the
committed.
Mini. Yeah.
Knitted.
If we had tattoos with the cars we've had, we'd have just like tattoos everywhere.
Yeah, I've only had one car.
Yeah, it's like some hilarious things. But yeah, so that's kind of how it started, and and now we're in the new shop, and we've got a ton of projects and, you know, different products and stuff. So it's really cool how it sort of evolved from 2 motorcycles and, you know, a tiny little shop.
Yeah.
And and the name Steveston is because that's the city in which we have when we had our first shop. Neighborhood, I guess. Yeah. So Richmond, British Columbia, and there's this neighborhood on the water. It's like an old fishing village, and it's called Steveston, and it's kind of where Richmond started. And it's this really cool little town, and that's where our shop was. So Steveston Motor Co. And the Motor Co. meant, you know, that we could kind of keep it open. Anything with an engine we like. So my name is not Steve. It's Philip. Everyone thinks that it's Steveston Motor Co.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, there's a lot of Steves going on. No, that's the name of the community.
Okay, I've got one. Well deserved. Good people, good products. Well, that's not a question.
Thank you, though.
Okay. Okay, yeah, thanks. Okay, next one. Congrats. A clapping, high five, fire emoji. merch available?
We have some shirts going on right now. We just came out with them. Yeah, maybe Mark can come grab them. So these are originally hand painted by Marco. You'll notice that the the graphics are not like perfect. They're literally done with a paintbrush, and then we have them silk screened and put onto our shirts, and they are pretty awesome. So check out those on the website soon.
And they're like printed on Kirkland shirts, which you've been wearing while working.
Yeah,
on
Both
cars.
of us actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on the Kirkland kick, but it
Yeah.
was the plain T-shirt.
Yeah,
It's hard to find
it's
a
so
good
hard.
plain T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. A quality shirt. So if you get them, they're great work shirts. They're a little bit heavier, and they look awesome. I've got one here. Have you guys ever added a limited slip differential to a Mini? If so, is it a good modification? I haven't added a limited slip to a Mini. I've added it to other cars. With front wheel drive, you have to be careful with limited slip. If you use a limited slip that's like a clutch type that has a hard lock, you can have some bad kind of torque steer and some funny qualities to the actual driving if you're not on a track. If you really need that power to be put down, you have a ton of power, then that's a good idea. If you are adding a limited slip, the planetary gear type ones are usually the best for road driving because they are pretty much the opposite of a limited or opposite of a open diff. So an open diff will send power to the wheel that has the least amount of traction, the inside wheel when you're making a corner. And with the kind of gear type ones, they will send power to the opposite, to the outside wheel, and you get the turn in exactly. Yeah. So those are really awesome. I noticed for my personal car, I went from just the basic open diff 2-pin to just a cross pin diff, and although it's still open diff, because it has 4 planetary gears, the power is distributed much better, and you can really feel the difference. It makes a big difference. And with a Mini, if you've got sticky tires and not a ton of power, quite honestly, if you're not spinning a tire, you don't need a limited slip diff. But if you're starting to notice that in tight corners you're spinning a tire, that's what I would kind of look for.
I'm like 1098 on AO 32Rs, and it's already like slipping.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think if you drive it hard, even standard Mini.
Yeah, yeah. So I would go with one of the, unless you're driving a race car, go with one of the ones that's like the gear type limited slip diff. They're really nice because there's something that's called a torsion diff, because the gears don't wear out. If you have a clutch plate type, those clutch plates wear out, springs wear out. You need to change sometimes a special fluid and whatnot. So they're a little bit expensive, but if you are in there, that's what I would go for. If not, then go for a crosspin diff, because not only does it make it bulletproof, but it does make a difference in drivability, and they're reasonably inexpensive.
Does Queef make one? Does Queef make an LSD for the Mini?
They do,
Do
actually.
you mean Quaif?
Queef makes some great slip diffs.
Mike Levy asks, why does grape flavor smell the way it does when real grapes don't taste or smell anything like it? This is a two-parter, but maybe we should address this first question.
What are you eating that's grape flavored? That's not a grape.
Why are there interstate highways in Hawaii when they obviously don't take you to another state?
Because America. We say that as proud Canadians. Sorry.
Is there an Carlson? Is there a neat way to attach arches without rivets?
Well, I had this idea that I haven't tried yet, but it's to graft in neobendyne magnets into the flare. So the idea is you put a little bit of felt on the back side of the flare, and then on the front side of the flare, or kind of inside it, you fiberglass over some really strong magnets, and then that way they'll clip onto the outside. And if you've ever held like one of the rare earth magnets, they're super strong, so they're not going anywhere. But then if you want to run without flares, you can just pop them off, pop them back on. We like to use either rivets or riv nuts. If you're using the self-tapping screws, either for the grill or for the flares, or for anything in that matter, they only have like a limited service life, and anyone who's used self-tappers will know that after a while you take them out and you put them back in, they start to strip, they don't grab because the sheet metal is only so thin, and once it bends out, they don't work anymore, so then you have to up the size, and next thing you know, you've upped the size and you've got these giant 10 mil bolts holding your flares on. So if you're going to be doing it permanently, rivets work great. They don't come loose, they're small and sort of discreet, and if you do want them to be removable, then I would say use a riv nut. You can buy a cheap riv nut gun on Amazon or whatnot, and then that way you actually have a nice threaded portion. You can put a lock nut on there, it won't ever come out until you want to, and then that way it's infinitely removable.
What are your favorite holiday movies?
Die Hard.
Christmas Story.
Aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver is just like with
With
her Santa
the robot,
Claus hat.
right?
Yeah.
With the clampy robot?
Clampy?
With the clamps? Aliens.
Clamps.
Let's see here. Well done, guys. If I move to Canada, can I come work for you? Sure.
For free?
Yeah, we pay below minimum wage.
We pay in kokanee.
Yes, and whatever this beer is.
I have a lot. ... Do you storyboard your videos, short vids, or just wing it as you film?
Depends on what we're filming. If you've seen our 9/9s video, that one we actually storyboarded the entire thing. You may not know, but Marco is an animator for his day job. So if you are a fan of Rick and Morty, that's this guy.
I didn't make it. I just animated on it.
He just did it, anyways. So for that one, we actually did a play-by-play animation, really rough. And then when we went out to film it, we had like the video on our phones, and we just kind of copied scene per scene, and then modified things as we went along. For most of the videos that we do that are like tech tip videos, we kind of just go ahead with the job. But to give you an idea on how kind of long it takes and how much effort, we just recently did a ball joint video, so you can check that one out. And in order to demonstrate how to do the ball joints, we did one side of the car and filmed it. And then the next day, it's a customer car, so I came here and did it myself with Marco's help. And for the first day when we were filming it, it took about 6 hours to do one ball joint.
Wow.
And the next day when we came and Marco...
We timed it.
Yeah, we timed it just to see, and he didn't like help, he just passed me tools and stuff. And
I helped.
A little bit.
I helped you, like, mentally. I was feeding you energy.
He was, emotional support.
Yeah.
And so 6 hours to film it, and when I did it myself without filming it, it was 35 minutes. So that gives you an idea of how long it takes to film some of these videos, and that's just filming portion. And then Nico takes it and does all the editing, which was probably, another 10 hours?
Two, 3 hours at least, and then just...
Yeah, rendering time and adding music and stuff. So it does take a while. If any of you out there have made videos, you will know the pains involved. But it's fun. It's good. It definitely trains you on how to do things differently, because when you have to have a camera in the way and you have to explain things as you're doing it, it's very different than when you're just working in the shop alone. But
the tech tips are unique in that sense too, because it's not just about production and filming something cool. It's more about teaching, I think. You have to understand where your viewer's coming from and present things in as clear a way as possible, while also trying to give all like the little tidbits that make the job a lot easier.
Yeah. So
it's a two-part question. Are import laws for Mini strict in Canada as they are in California? What are your feelings on refin minis?
So the import laws in Canada are much easier than in the States, but they are still somewhat strict. So we have to, it's 20 years.
15.
Is it 15 or 20?
Oh, you're talking about the States?
No, for Canada.
Canada's 15.
15.
Yeah.
Or sorry, it's 10 years or 15 years. So it's 10 years if it's a special edition from Japan, or 15 years if it's a non-special edition.
Or if like the manufacturer went bust.
Yeah.
It's like 10 years older, limited edition.
Yeah. So it's 15 years that we can bring something in, and then when we do bring it in, there's a little bit of process with paperwork and whatnot, as with any importation, and then you have to bring it up to Canadian standards. So For this, that means adding reflectors on the side, daytime running lights if they're not already equipped. You need to have a third brake light. There's a bunch of little things like that, so we add it on when we import a car. It's not too difficult, but yeah, there's a little bit. It's nice in Vancouver here because we have a port, so there's a lot of JDM cars and that you can't get elsewhere, and especially in the States, you know, we just started getting like R34 GTRs and stuff, so it'll be a while for the people in the States get the pleasure of those.
25 years.
Yeah.
We've been getting R34s for like 8 years, I thought. No?
Not R34s.
Yeah.
32s.
32s for like 12 years.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
And nobody wants 33s.
Oh god, I just spoke you all over myself.
We've all been there.
What do you feel about
Because I
revinning
printed.
minis? I think it's abhorrent. Especially if it's like an old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't need to revin it, I guess.
I mean, you have the risk with revinning a car that if they find out that it's been revinned,
Yeah.
they can get crushed. I know I've seen that before.
Mhm.
Sometimes there are VIN plates out there that have the body just disintegrated, and then you're not revinning it so much as reshelling it. You know, if the
That's
body's
okay,
completely destroyed and you're just putting a new body. I know there's a couple different companies out there where you can buy completely new mini shells. So that's a kind of a different option.
Yeah, it's just too much of a risk if you revin like a 90s car into a 70s car and the state gets you and they crush your car.
Yeah.
This
not worth
happened
it.
to a lot of Defenders, I think, in the States.
How to get more power from a 998 Mini? This is right up to you.
Stroke it a little. Well, the stage 1 kit is really good because I went like through all the stages before an actual engine rebuild.
Mm.
Yeah, even the filter and the RC40 exhaust helped a bit. Yeah, I also put a Weber on it. Yeah, but the most noticeable gains would be a lighter weight wheel. Going down to 10-inch, it really picked up the acceleration.
Mm. Yeah, gearing is often forgot. Like in my car, I've got a 344 final drive, and it screams. It's like way quicker than any of like the SPIs with like a 3.1. And I've done it on other cars before too. I remember I had a Miata before, and I went from, I think it was a 3.2 to a 4.9, and it totally lost all ability to go fast. I think it maxed out at, I don't know, 180 kilometers an hour or something when it was like at 8,000 RPM. But getting there was super quick. Learned a while ago that gearing is what makes a car fast, and getting that power, getting the engine.
Okay, Mini first aid kit must have in your toolbox while driving out with your Mini.
BCA.
Yeah. Spare parts. Like besides tools, spare parts I think are super important.
Like what spare parts?
You want a spare coil, plugs, maybe points, fuel pump.
Yeah, we've used the fuel pump.
I've used the
before.
fuel pump, several times. Yeah.
Head gasket.
Engine.
Yeah.
No, just the basic tools I would say to, you're not going to be doing any crazy repairs on the side of the road, so anything you need to do that's going to be like roadside serviceable, so you need to be able to take like your distributor cap off, spark plugs out, just, you know, a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, 7/16, half-inch, 9/16, so like kind of basic toolkit is really critical. I always carry a basic little toolkit in my car, and it saved me many times. I've had to do starter motors, I've had to change my distributor, a few things just on the side of the road, but all that's easy if you have just a basic toolkit. The nice thing with Minis is there's like 9 bolt sizes on the whole car, so you can pretty much make a small kit that will suit almost anything you need to do.
For a while, I carried a tub of Vaseline with me everywhere, so I could like the connection, like my earth was bad, so I like rub it on the battery, and then you know. That's what people do, right?
Well, that's what you do.
The first aid kit is, I think, something that every car should have, but Minis they're a little more particular. Like you can get pretty good, I think, at carrying a lot of stuff and then trimming it down to get to a point where it's not that big of a kit, but you just have what you need, and that's pretty much 7/16, half inch, 9/16.
The key, I would say, is to drive your car, have it break, fix it, drive it, have it break, fix it, until the point where you're totally comfortable. Like now with my personal car, it's like it's broken enough times and I've gone on crazy enough trips with it that I'm very confident in driving it. If something's going to break, it's going to be a catastrophic failure at this point. Because if you just baby the car the whole time, you never know what's going to happen with it. Then you have to carry all the spare parts. You have to carry all. You just don't be afraid to use it. Go and enjoy it, and then keeping in mind that something will probably break. But if it's new, a lot of times things break just because they're old, not because they're minis, not because they're British cars. It's just it hasn't been maintained. If your distributor's 30 years old, there's a chance it's probably going to wear out. So, if those main components are changed and in good condition, you have very little to worry about.
Fuses.
Yeah, fuses.
Oh, yeah.
Fuses. Some wire with some wire crimpers is really nice because it's one of the things that you can't fake on the side of the road. If your wire burns up or you need to add a relay or something.
Yeah.
Oil.
Oil. Duct tape for when you discover your vacuum line is shredded.
Yeah. Or what did we use with Chris's car? JB Weld. His JB, he had an oil leak coming out of the oil pressure sensor. It broke on the backside, and we stuck some JB Weld in the back. Went for a hike, and then when we came back 2 hours later, it was cured and the car was fine. So something like that would be really hard to repair roadside, but a little stick of JB Weld and you're good to go.
Brake fluid. I've had a leaky brake. Everything, pretty much.
Just carry all the things. Sam Maggs asks, who shot first?
I know that.
Han
guy.
Solo, obviously. No?
I actually don't know that reference. I felt like
What?
an idiot. Yeah. Who shot first? It
Yeah,
sounds
Han
like
Solo.
that bit, who...
I got you, Sam.
What's
Don't worry
on
about
second?
It. It was Han.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
In what scene is that?
The
Oh my
scene
God.
where they shot.
Oh my god.
God.
Let's see here.
If someone were to visit the shop with a box of 24 piece offering, what should the box say?
Not kokanee, apparently. This is pretty good.
They don't sell them in 24s.
Bourbon blood orange wheat ale.
And actually anything, company's fine.
We're very not picky.
Yeah. We had a bud phase. We really liked our bud.
Yeah.
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 No PBRs. They're awful.
Yeah.
Especially the glutens. It's extra bad.
If you're local, check out Fuggles in Warlock. It's a good beer.
Oh, I like this. It's Linka dessert tray.
Dessert tray?
Linka dessert tray. Do you think poorly lit, dark floored, messy workbench garages are a thing of the past?
For us, they are. Honestly, for working in a shop, cleanliness and lighting is number one. If your place is clean and it's well lit and it's warm, you'll do so much better work. Being able to see what you're working on and knowing where your tools are at is 9/10 of the battle. Then you can focus on the actual problem at hand, and you're not getting frustrated by trying to find tools or not being able to see. So we've known that, and we've kind of figured that out over the years now, and that's why this shop is extra organized, or as organized as we can make it, and we're continually trying to improve that. So
Always be Nolan.
yeah,
Can we see
Nolan.
the Knolls?
Beyonce
Put
Knowles.
your tools back. Put your tools back. That's what he said to me, but
Yeah, no, I tell them that all the time. Dream engine build. The guy with wheels asks.
I like keeping it A series.
Yeah, I'm a fan of A series.
Yeah.
I think right now we're doing a B18 build, which is awesome. I kind of want to do a D series Honda build as well with ITBs in the future. But my dream engine build would definitely be an A series, 1380, 8-port, Weber carbs,
Supercharged turbo.
yeah, we'll see. I like all motor. That's for me. Naturally aspirated is the way to go, but boost is awesome as well. So something I like using an engine that was designed in the 50s or 40s and making it fast, and having someone say like, well, what engine did you swap in here? It's like, oh no, it's a mini engine. Like, it's so much cooler than, yeah, like a V18 is awesome, and like this thing's gonna be super fast that we're building. But you know, there's something kind of, a lot of the character of a Mini comes from its A-Series engine and that really torquey feel and the sound. I remember the very first time I heard a Mini with a performance exhaust, years before I bought one. I was in the mall and I heard it fire up, and I was like, that's not what I thought a Mini sounds like. Because any other small car that you hear, you know, if you see like a Geo Metro or something, you know, they don't sound like chunky, and a Mini's got that really, it's like a small muscle car kind of feeling, and those who haven't driven one don't realize that that's part of like the driving experience, is having like that really kind of torquey, low-end grunt that you don't really get from more modern small displacement engines. So keeping it A-Series is, I think, pretty cool.
What year is the MGB GT, and will you guys do any videos about MGs? It's a 1971. It'll probably be included in future videos, but in terms of tech tips, I don't think so. We're totally focused on Minis right now. So, sorry. Take the lessons you can get from the A-Series. Most are applicable to the B-Series. In terms of the rest of the car, I don't know. The MGBs are super unique, so it's kind of difficult because they've got lever shocks and all these other quirks that kind of make them their own thing. So whether we're going to branch into those as well is hard to say right now.
Does donuts.
It doesn't
pretty
do
well.
donuts.
Well, in a way, like it was pouring, it'll do donuts.
Hey, we did do twin donuts. You and your Mini and me and the MG in a tiny tight parking lot.
At like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't happen. That's just.
Yeah, I mean, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. Sorry, neighbors. Turns out a Mini with a big rear sway bar and sticky tires can do pretty good donuts. Speaking of which, have you ever crashed a Mini, and how bad was it? I would suggest checking out our first Detoured video where we did Vancouver Island. I didn't crash my car, but my significant other did. But it was pretty fun, so check that video out.
Yeah, and just don't crash.
Just don't do it.
Just don't crash.
Yeah.
It's designed not to
Or
crash.
crash enough, like me, where it doesn't become scary anymore. We're like, oh, we're just spinning out again. That's the other alternative. Can I call you maybe, Matt?
Maybe.
I was excited.
Is he talking about the song Carly Rae Jepsen? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Sorry, Matt.
It's actually the editor that works with me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is he a hot girl?
Matt?
Maybe it's like Mateus. Is that a girl
I think
name?
it's also
There are no
Matea?
girls named Matt, right?
Marmalade or jam?
I've never had marmalade.
Yeah. We're Canadian. Jam.
Isn't marmalade...
Maple syrup.
Yeah. Isn't marmalade just jam?
It's like
It's orange.
oranges.
But orange. Jam is just
bit
fruit.
tart.
But you could tart up any jam. Like jam is just fruit that's preserved in sugar. Why is marmalade so special?
Why does it get its own name?
Down with marmalade.
I'll be changing my wheel bearings and ball joints. Any suggestions? Would be great to have a video. We do. We just put out the ball joint video now. Check it out. Any suggestions about changing idler bearings? Yes, it is important to do if you are changing, if you have the engine apart. I had mine explode on me. That was the first reason that I started to rebuild my engine. The preload on the idler bearing is very critical, and if you don't have that set correctly, it will wobble when the engine essentially torques up. Because of the helical gear, it's allowed to turn sideways, and it will put a load on the bearing, and that can blow up the bearing. So when you're putting together, be very, very mindful of the of shimming it essentially. So you're going to put the gasket on there. You can see in some other videos, maybe we'll do one as well. But just be very mindful of that because it is a very critical thing, and a couple thou either side can make a big difference and could essentially blow up your transmission, your transfer case gears. So be careful with that one.
I'm seeing like a few questions asking about Euro trip. Euro trip?
We really want to do a Euro trip. We want to do Goodwood would be our number one.
Would be good. Goodwood would be good.
It would be good.
Be good.
Greatwood.
Greatwood would be.
Greatwood would be much better.
Yes. So if any of you are interested in hosting 3 mini idiots, let us know. We would love to come to England, and especially Goodwood or any of those, events like that would be awesome to see. When we went to Japan, it was great, and I want to explore more and meet more people out there.
The London to Brighton run would also be a cool thing to check out.
That would be a really good one. Let's see.
We have a L2B here too, like Langley to Birmingham. No, Bellingham. Langley to Bellingham.
Yeah.
No, that's what we should do.
Oh.
Cheapest and easiest way to lower your Mini?
The cheapest way.
Let out the air in your tire.
Remove your cones.
No, just let your cones sag. Yeah. Just buy an old Mini and it'll be low.
My Mini's that low because it's like 20-year-old cones.
Yeah.
Your cones are smashed.
Yeah.
So smashed.
They smash.
Smash.
In technical terms, the cheapest way that you can lower your Mini is to modify the stock trumpet.
Yeah.
You can shorten the trumpet. If you look in some old school books, like in David Vizard's Tuning the A-Series, or he's got a couple different ones on Minis, there's some write-ups on how to shorten up the trumpets. Quite honestly though, high-lows are pretty cheap, and that allows infinite tunability with your ride height. I would say, instead of spending the effort in shortening up your trumpets, just go buy high-lows. Spend a couple $100 and you'll be able to set your ride height however you like.
Some corner weighting possibilities as well.
Yeah, the adjustable suspension pieces on a Mini are pretty inexpensive and they make a huge difference. So if you are looking to get the best handling out of your Mini, that is definitely the go-to for sure. It would be number one is just like have adjustable alignment. It makes you can really dial in everything that way.
I feel like it's outside of a track. The Mini drives better when it's high. I feel.
Yeah, the more suspension travel you have, Minis only have like 1.5 inches or 2 inches of suspension travel of compression travel anyways. So the more you lower it, the less of that you have. So that's what I was saying, that like keeping it higher but having the alignment set, because Minis from factory have positive camber, which is not good for anything. So if you're able to dial that in, even if you use the arms that aren't adjustable, they're just like they give you 2 degrees negative or 1.5 degrees negative. That can make a big difference. And again, they're super cheap. There's almost kind of no excuse to try to modify the stock ones. You can just buy the other ones for really cheap.
And you don't necessarily need it for the rear even. Camber, it looks cool.
Yeah.
But you want to increase oversteer in a Mini for it to really handle.
Yeah.
And I read like that a Mini handles better if the rear is jacked up a little bit higher than the front.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Like for quicker weight transfer.
Yeah. Most of the weight in the Mini is on the front end anyways, so concentrating on the front end, getting that, getting your turn in, and then quite honestly with the Mini, the oversteer is so kind of, if you have it set up correctly, is so predictable, and if it starts to get sideways, just get on the gas and it pulls it back straight again. They're really easy to drive quick when they're set up correctly.
Did you say positive camber looks kind of cool?
No. Did I say cool?
Yeah. You said cool.
I said dual. What's the beer tag for?
Here. It looks cool. I had 2 of them before. I definitely didn't make a still with the last one, and definitely didn't make moonshine.
No.
No.
What are your dailies? Does Marco drive his Mini year-round? I don't drive my Mini year-round. It's actually broken at the minute. It needs a new engine.
But what do you drive daily?
A Fiesta ST.
What mods?
What?
What mods?
Oh, Everything with the tune, just not a big turbo, and really shitty shocks.
Accurate.
And
Creaky
ball tires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Creaky subframes.
Yeah.
What are they?
Brace.
Subframe
Creaky
braces.
Brace, yeah.
Yeah. Just a lot of aftermarket thrown at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, intercooler. A hole cut off the bottom of the airbox, super loud.
Gunmetal wheels that definitely aren't just brake dust.
I actually feel like that car drives like a Mini. It's like it really wants to go, and you have to really step on it. And it loves being stepped on.
Fiesta STs are good cars. We drive shitty trucks.
Hey.
Dakota,
So sort of shitty trucks.
Some are shittier than others.
Yeah.
Dodge, and Jeep.
I've seen a few Mini feature on your channel. Do you guys have a Steveston Motor Co. Mini Club? What members do you have? How do they drive? We don't have a club specifically, but we do have a lot of local people that sort of our shop is like the hub of. So there's a lot of our friends and clients, customers that come and hang out. And when we put on mini events, which we do a couple times a year, we always do a spring barbecue. It's been like 3 years running now. And last year we put on the barbecue. I mean, there was maybe 200 people showed up or whatnot. So there's a fair bit of local mini community, and especially with us, a lot of the younger guys have coming here. We've got a good mix of kind of the old guys that have had the minis for a long time, and then the younger guys are getting into them, kind of like us. So that's been really cool to have the kind of the mix of like the two worlds, and everyone can kind of learn from each other, and it's been really enjoyable that way.
We recognize that we're lucky to have that, because a lot of small towns, they don't have those communities. They don't have the young people into minis.
Yeah, we got a lot of messages from people like, I love a mini, I have mine, but I'm the only person in my town with one. Do you know any local clubs and stuff? So if you're ever traveling through Vancouver, feel free to come and visit us. And we've always got people stopping in the shop, and we've always got minis here. So yeah, really cool.
You could be in our club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to our club.
Come visit us. Put a sticker on your car. You're part of
free
club.
stickers to those who visit.
Yes. The farther you're from, the bigger the sticker.
Don't promise big stickers. Just like a roundel.
Let's see here. What do you think of deep dish rims on standard mini wheel bearings? I just ordered a 10x6 with a -7 offset. Quite honestly, for minis, handling wise, the lower the offset, the wider the wheels, usually the worse handling it is. Quite honestly, your scrub radius changes.
Bump steer.
You get rubbing. That being said, they look awesome. And with the right setup, you can make it work. If you don't have tons of steering angle, a lot of, you see like the Mini Miglias or Mini 7s, they run big arches and big fat tires, really poked out. And
it depends on the street tire too. Like the widest you can get is 165.
Yeah, which you don't really need a 6-inch wheel.
Yeah, but they do look cool.
Yeah, 6 to 5.
Yeah.
If you're going any more than that, I mean, with something like a -7 offset, you're gonna have to cut a lot if you're at a reasonably lower height of the fender in order to be able to clear it, because the farther the wheel is pushed out, the more it's gonna kind of arc as it turns.
In terms of wheel bearings though, like it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, I mean, the wheel bearings on the Mini are fairly strong. There's always a concern when you put wider wheels, it puts more load on them, which it does. They're also fairly easy to change and fairly inexpensive. So really, it's kind of, that would be the less concern for me. It would more so be the feel. You get much heavier steering if you put on wide wheels as well. Yeah. So if you have a small steering wheel, obviously Minis don't have power steering, and you got sticky tires with really low offset wheels, that will kind of play into it as well.
If you're going to put wide wheels on, it's probably a good idea to check the wheel bearings anyway. And just replace that at the same time, and it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
But you definitely do shorten the shelf life of your wheel bearings. There's more heat, there's more load on them. But I've never owned a car long enough to replace the wheel bearings
I've seen like
not twice. Yeah.
I've seen on the forums where people's wheel bearings break and their wheels fly off. But I think it's just you just need to keep up with the maintenance.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of horror stories come from people who just haven't maintained their cars at all, and then
they buy a used mini, and they like first thing they do is put wide wheels on it.
Yeah, yeah, and also mini wheels, wheel bearings, specifically in the front, are like a crazy high torque rating, 180 to 200 foot-pounds. And if you bring it to a normal shop, sometimes they won't know that torque rating, and they'll set it to the average car, which is by feel or 60 foot-pounds or something. So that could be a factor as well. If it's not torqued up properly, it could fail because of that and not because of the low wheels. So, yeah.
Speaking of torque, like if you bring it to a shop and they don't know when they're putting the wheels on, they would just go by like 80 foot-pound lug nuts.
Oh, we've had to stop people before getting cars inspected. They bring out the air gun.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
So if you are going to find a service shop that isn't us, make sure that they know minis particularly, because there's some funny things on minis that don't happen on other cars, and if they're unaware of that, they could do damage, or kind of you'll have problems come up from not from their fault, but just from a lack of knowledge on mini stuff. So make sure that whatever shop you bring them to, they are a mini specialist. Let's see.
That wheel question, though, kind of touches on a bigger topic that, like with the wheel widths and wheel offset, a trend I've noticed is that the older we get, the higher our cars get and the narrower our wheels get. In general, the less cool our cars are getting.
I think the widest, that's just my opinion, the widest wheel you should go is just 5-inch. Because it's lighter than a 6-inch width, and you can't get bigger tires for the road. If you're on track, then by all means go as wide as you.
Yeah, and if you've got like AO32Rs or something, the sidewall is pretty stiff already. You don't need to worry about that old school thing of putting on a stretched tire so that it keeps the sidewall stiffness.
And a lot of the mini suspension, I feel, it's in the sidewall. For my car anyways, collapsed.
That's why I think that minis with 10-inch wheels drive nicer. It's just because there's more cushion from the actual tire. Because like I said before, the wheel only has about 1.5 inches or 2 inches of bump travel anyways. So beyond that, it's all into the tire or into the bump stop. So you really need to kind of have that squish in order to make it comfortable and pliable and whatnot. And
you're more confident to go faster too when the car doesn't break loose. Like with more sidewalls, it's more predictable. It's more gradual.
Yeah, yeah. Classic Mini DIY asks, any interest in doing a mini collaboration? Sure, Cole. Wait. See Me for Bagpipes asks, congrats, 10,000 subscribers. And why is that bike there? The bike's not there anymore. I moved it.
Why is that bike even there? It's been there forever.
We need to move
It's
this.
in the way. Tim Manonen asks, if you had to make a Frankenstein build from cars that you have personally owned, chassis, engine, transmission, etc., what would it be?
Ooh.
I have an idea.
Frankenstein.
I have an idea.
Well, you've only owned 3 cars. So yours would be really boring.
I can predict this one.
Yeah.
What about like cars I'd like to own?
Sure.
Okay, a Riley Elf or a Wolseley Hornet, because it's got a big boot. Put a 911 engine in it.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's not include this in the video. I want to keep this down low.
Okay, we will definitely not include this in the video.
But right? Rear-wheel drive? Like, it's perfect. Or even a Beetle engine. We should do this.
What's your Frankenstein build?
My Frankenstein build. I would love to put the engine from my first car into my Mini. So I had an AW11 MR2 with an AE111 4AGE
In the back?
blacktop
In the back?
engine. So, no, keep it front wheel drive. Yeah. So it's a 4AG Toyota engine, 1.6 liter, with factory individual throttle bodies, revved to 8,200 RPM. amazing engine. I would love to put that in my Mini. That'd be fun.
I would definitely think about doing a 13B rotary engine in the MGB.
They're tiny.
Which
Oh,
is
yeah.
kind of like, it's sacrilege, right? But the MGB's hood and the engine compartment is so long and so wide to fit the V8 that they put in there, that the tiny keg of the rotary, I think, would
Yeah.
sit really nice, and you could get weight distribution
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
I mean,
We should
they
do all
make
of
good
these
power,
engines.
so
Yeah.
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 Right?
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 Well, I feel like I have the best idea here. Do you have any questions for us? Like, do we have any questions for each other? Like, what would you want to ask?
Oh,
Where do you want this? What do you want this shop to be about? Like, why? Why are we doing this? Like, what is our goal here?
Because life is too short not to follow your passions.
Say again louder.
Money! I want money!
No, but like, yeah, I think, yeah, do what you love.
Yeah,
Life's too
there
short.
was a question earlier that was saying something like that. It was like, can you
Can you, yeah,
can you
live
follow
off your
your
passion?
yeah,
right?
live in your passion? Yeah. And I think you can. There's not it's scary and it's stressful sometimes to have your own shop and to have your own business and to do whatever, just to follow your kind of dreams. But if you work hard and you keep your heart in it, and it's totally worth it, you know, despite all the stress and shittiness, it's like still awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think if you keep doing what you do, I mean, keep doing what you love, people can see it and they're drawn to you, and yeah, support will come.
The scariest part personally is making it public, I think. Putting it out on Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, even though not that many people are watching, it is a bit of a hurdle.
Well, because you're trying in the face of, it's like trying on stage. It's like learning how to dance in front of a bunch of people. Yeah.
We should dance.
It reminds me of
You're a great dancer.
it's the Theodore Roosevelt quote, "The man in the arena," and I'm gonna butcher the quote if I try to say it, but
Say it.
it's but it's about being the man in the arena and how much greater he is just for being there, because even if he fails, at least
He's in the arena.
he's in the arena.
So you all suck.
But it just that guy with the minis asked favorite wheels.
My favorite wheels are the wheels I have on my car. I have Work Equip 001s, Work Equip 01s.
001s?
001?
O1s.
Work Equip 01s. And I got them several years before I even owned a Mini. I saw them come up on Craigslist, and quite honestly, I paid $50 for all 4 Work Equips. And since then, I have looked, and there's been a couple examples I've found on obscure Japanese websites, but other than that, I pretty much have the only set probably in Canada, and they are dope. I'm gonna be buried with them.
Did you get it before you got your Mini?
Yeah, like years before I got my Mini. I also got that front, like years before I got the Mini. Or
My favorite wheels are these Steelies, 10-inch
yeah,
Steelies.
no, your Steelies are super cool though.
Yeah, they're made
Yeah.
of they're alloy Steelies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't make them anymore, right?
Maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Mine are Longchamps, which unfortunately aren't made in 10-inch. But runner-up is Star Sharks, and those are, I think.
Maybe.
Are Star Sharks made in 10?
Maybe.
I feel like I've seen a set, but
Star Sharks are, yeah,
yeah.
one of my favorite JDM wheels for sure. All right, guys.
This is the most sincere.
All right, guys, that's it for our Ask Me Anything. Thank you so much for the questions. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun answering this. And thanks for the 10,000 subscribers. Really
Yeah,
cool.
no
We
kidding.
started this YouTube account kind of on a whim, and now it's like it's starting to grow, and it's awesome. And it's great to hear all of your emails and stuff. We get a lot of DMs and emails and stuff telling us how great our channel is and how everyone's enjoying it. So that's really cool to hear. So thank you again. Really appreciate it. And stay tuned for more videos. And if you have more questions, put them in the comments. We try to answer all of our YouTube and Instagram comments. So Keep it up, and we appreciate it.
That was good.
Okay.
Was that good? Feels pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
It's good.
So that was Ask Us Anything. You asked anything, and we answered almost everything. I hope you're happy. I don't know if people get me.
They don't, Marvel. They don't.